Hey, what's up guys, Psycho Penguin here, and today's video I'm going to give you some competitive matchmaking tips for you to hopefully improve your gameplay. I'm currently MG1 with 29 comp wins, I think, and I have learned a ton of things that hopefully I can pass on to you for you to improve on your gameplay. So one of the tips I have is while I'm walking around, because some tips I need to show you what to do and stuff, so that's why I'm just walking around for now. So one of the tips I'm going to give you is watch competitive players, whether they're streaming, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's, like tournaments or just their own stream. Watch them because you'll see how they play, when they push, when they rotate, all these things, and hopefully it'll help you to learn from what they're doing, and you can improve on your gameplay by just watching them. Another tip I have is use your grenades. It's an extremely valuable asset to your team and to winning a round. For example, like a good flash to blind the sight here would be this one. And you pop everyone and they're dead. So you want to use grenades effectively. Like let's say you're trying to retake a site, use grenades. You nade common spots. For example, like if I'm on cat right here, as I fail horribly, like let's say I want to nade goose, I would just go like that, and that would just land here, hopefully damaging some of the enemies right here. So if you have intel, it's even easier to get some damage inflicted on your enemies with grenades and etc. So another tip is after a pistol round loss, do not force buy an M4 or an AK. Now the reason is because your enemies are likely going to buy an SMG, so by you buying a better weapon than them, or a higher tier weapon, and you get killed, they have now a valuable asset to their team, which is a higher tier weapon, which means that their economy will be better. They'll be able to buy more nades, more equipment, because they don't have to spend money. So that's one of the tips. Unless you are extremely good and are very confident, I wouldn't buy an AK or an M4. Even if you win the pistol round, I wouldn't buy them, because if you lose them, because chances are the opposing team is gonna save or eco on after the loss and you die, they easily have a higher tier weapon. Sure, they might have an SMG, but it won't be as effective as an AK or an M4. So that's another tip that I have. Tip number 4 is going into grenades. So let's say you're in a 1v1 clutch situation, okay? And you know the bomb is long, he's coming long, you have intel. It's a 1v1, and you're coming up long as I fail to jump. I'm a scrub, I'm sorry. I swear I am MG1. A tip I have is if you have an incendiary, which is a really effective grenade because it can stop pushes, it'll damage if they push through. So that's a really good tip to buy incendiaries. So let's say you know it's coming A. You want to incendiary the site, because then this is places he can't plant because he will take damage. So hopefully, because you know you threw an incendiary on the site, it'll give you intel on where he can and cannot plant. Here he cannot plant, but here he can because he's blocked off. So hopefully it'll give you more intel on where he can and cannot plant, and hopefully you'll be able to track him down and kill him. So that's one. That he can't come up here and plant right there. So that's something. That's another tip I have. Another tip, there's 10 tips, this is the 5th tip right now. Okay. did I do that? Yeah. Okay. Tip number 5. I actually accidentally did tip number 4 instead. So tip number 5 is, for example, B is really good. B is a really good example. Let's say, and I'm not saying this happens all the time. It's really rare for a team to stack, especially in the higher ranks, because then they'll just know that you're going to stack that bomb site. So I would probably expect this at the lower ranks. So one thing you want to do, okay, I was not prepared. I am very sorry. I cannot spell smoke grenade. Nope, that's an S. I am bad. There. Okay. Hello? Okay, that's broken. Let's just say this is a smoke. Okay, so it's... I swear I didn't want to do that. I am bad. So let's say on the scoreboard it's 0-3 the opposing team, or 3-0. 3-0 the opposing team, and so far all those 3 rounds they have pushed B. So what you want to do is, chances are, is tell your teammates to stack B, because if they've done it for 4 rounds, there's a possibility of them doing it for a 4th. The reason being is because the reason they would come B again is because the 3 rounds it has already worked for them, and they have done the same thing for each 3 rounds. So it might work the 4th. I'm not saying it will, but it might work the 4th. So that's one of the reasons why they might come B again. So you would probably want to smoke it off. You would probably want to pre-nade it, so it'll slow down their pushes, and you'll have more intel, because chances are they'll rotate A if they don't come B. So that's another tip. So tip number 6. Now I've seen a lot of people not do this, and this is, I think you might totally disagree with me. So wait, does this work? So let's say, no, it doesn't. Maybe because I'm not on T or something. So let's say the round starts, you're coming B, spray down some people, you spray them down, and you have bomb down. The first thing you want to do is tell your team that bomb is down. And now let me fly over to A, and you hear over comms that bomb is B. The first thing you want to do is rotate, check for possibilities of people being in other spots. So let's say there's a guy long. While I'm rotating, I want to look at long. So hopefully it won't come down mid and into B. And so bomb is down right there. You want your teammates to look at all the angles. So in B, it's really easy. On A, it's more difficult because there's more angles to look for. So the 3 angles on B are tons, doors, and window. So you want your teammates to cover all possible angles, like even pre-nade them, flash out doors, you know, all this stuff. So, you know, all that. So the first thing you want to do is rotate to the bomb, because they have to come to you. Okay? Now, getting into another tip soon after I finish this one is, so they have to come to you. Just wait for them, because you have bomb down. You currently have the advantage over them, because they cannot win unless they clutch and kill all of you or plant the bomb. So that's one thing. Alright, now another tip I have. is, let's say you are on CT and you are holding long. The thing you do not want to do is you do not want to push them. For example, let's say they're B right now. You hear intel that they're going B. You push out long. There's nobody here, but there's somebody standing right there, watching long, just waiting for that pick. Because if you're in a higher skill rank, chances are there are going to be people watching their team's back. So for example, if not, then it'll be closer. For example, you come through mid, you come here. Chances are there'll be somebody watching tons anyways. So you shouldn't push. You should just rotate the way you know there's no enemies. So don't push long. Instead, push through CT and just watch mid, because it's an easier way to push. You have only one angle versus multiple angles here. They can be waiting there when you cross here. They can be waiting by this car. They can be waiting there. So if it's going B, I would suggest just going through long and just helping your teammates. So alright, tip number 8 is, let's say that you do push, and I wouldn't advise pushing. You want to check literally every single corner. This applies to T as well. And I'll show you a nice flash right here. You probably already know this. Boom. Everybody here is blinded, except if there's a guy here, he won't be blinded. But if there's a guy pushing into tons, he'll be blinded. So that's a nice flash. And so you literally want to check every corner. Like, there could be a CT right here waiting for a T to push, and he doesn't have a really bad angle to wait for your head to peek. There could be a CT right here. So you literally want to check every single corner, and for people to get those little picks. This is 9. This is tip number 9. Okay, so this applies to the pistol round. So 2000. Okay, never mind. Doesn't work. CSGO, you're broken. So on the pistol round, I would advise buying armor, because on the higher ranks, people already have gotten used to the pistols, on how they work, how they shoot, all that stuff, which isn't really hard to understand. But I would advise buying armor, because on the higher ranks, it'll be easier to lose, because, you know, on the higher ranks, they're better players, unless you got carried. That's one thing. So I would advise buying armor, because if you win the pistol round, some of that armor will be carried onto the second round, so you don't have to spend extra money. You can just, instead of buying armor because you lost or you died, then you can just buy an SMG or something. So I would advise buying armor. But if you die, you obviously have to spend the extra money on the armor. So this is the last tip, and this is probably one of the most important tips. Probably the most important of all the tips I'm going to give you is communicate. You want to call out everything. For example, like, let's say there's a flash B, you get affected, you want to call that out to your teammates. There's a nade coming out to B, you want to call that out to your teammates. All these things you want to call out. For example, let's say, like, you know, op pit, or guy pit, or guy dumpster, you know, you want to call everything out. And, yeah, that'll be my 10 tips for this episode or video. I don't know if I'll continue, but hopefully you guys enjoy. Bye-bye.